Have you or anyone that you know suffered from a mental disorder that makes it difficult to function as a member of society on a day-to-day basis? Well, today I'm going to be telling you about the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. This is an organization that has funded numerous scientists and research teams in their hunt to alleviate the suffering that many people with mental illnesses go through, from addiction and autism to eating disorders and post-traumatic stress. According to the World Health Organization, about 1 in 4 people around the world suffer from a mental illness, and I don't doubt that you know someone or you yourself do. The average person has the opportunity to influence the amount of accessibility that mental illness patients have to treatment and the methods of treatment that are used, all just by supporting the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation through a donation. One of the ways that the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation is changing the way that mental illness is dealt with is by making treatment more accessible to all. A big part of why people with mental illnesses don't find treatment is because it isn't very accessible to them, and this is why a majority of them don't get the help that they need. The Brain and Behavior Research Foundation works with over 4,800 scientists to make sure that treatment centers and treatment that is needed by these patients can be found wherever they need. By establishing easier ways for the general population of people with mental illnesses to find treatment, it will in turn increase the amount of them that take advantage of it. Without the necessary treatment for a lot of these mental illness patients, their cases can worsen, or they can even become a threat to themselves or those around them. Access to these treatments will not only be beneficial to those who have the mental illness, but also their loved ones, as they can rest assured that they're getting the care that they need. In addition to making treatment more accessible, the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation is determined to make treatment easier and more effective for people that need it. In a world where technology is advancing at an exponential rate, the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation is making sure that the technologies in mental illness treatment are not being left behind. Since 1987, the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation has been funding scientists and research teams to further make the treatment of mental illness better and more effective. According to their website, the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation has given $108 million in grants to scientists and research teams. For example, they funded a research team at Macmaster University in Canada who developed a way to turn human blood cells into neurons or brain cells. This replaces the older, much more time-consuming method, which can in turn make experiments and potential treatments for mental disorders a lot easier to carry out. But the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation is not the only one responsible for creating all these revolutionary treatments and making treatment more accessible to people that need it. It's the people that donate to them that make it possible. A donation of any amount is the first step to a brighter future for people with mental illness, and according to the Brain and Behavior Research website, 100% of the donations that are given to them go towards the grants that are given to scientists and research teams. Without the support of people who care about this issue, important breakthroughs in science and medicine wouldn't be possible. Large or small donations can have an effect on millions of people all across the world that need treatment for mental illness. And a donation to the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation extends much further than just the people that currently are dealing with mental illness, but for those in the future. It doesn't take much to support the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. They pretty much take care of all the hard stuff. So in conclusion, creating a more available way for people to get treatment for their mental illness and the improvement of those treatment methods used are all attainable by the average person just by donating to the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. If you're someone who believes that global issues such as mental illness can only be solved through the collective efforts of everybody who cares about them, then you're doing your part by making a selfless donation to the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. Change is in the hands of those who care, and those who care that are willing to take action. I hope that you consider yourself someone who is able to make a change. That concludes my speech. I'll now be opening the floor to questions. Yes, ma'am.
How can I make a donation to the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation?
So she asked me how she can make a donation to the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation, and pretty much just go on your computer if you don't have one, the library, find a computer, you can type in the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation, and it'll take you to their webpage where you can type in however much you want to donate, and it will donate that amount. That concludes my speech.